Hello, hello, and welcome to Unfiltered Eat Better, Think Better series. This is where we get real about our emotions, mindset, connection to food, and healing, and what it really takes to break free and feel good in your body and life again. I'm your host, Janie Shah, and in this series, I sit down with everyday people who face challenges with their health, body, their mind, their confidence, or long held beliefs that have held them back and found powerful ways to rise and grow through it all. These are real stories, no filters, no fluff, just raw conversations about what they struggled with, what actually helped, and how they created transformation from the inside out. So, whether you're on your own journey or just curious on what's possible, you are in the right place. So, here's to eating better, thinking better, and living a phenomenal life. Let's go. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me, Anna. We met actually at Mind Valley University in Amsterdam. And today, we're going to talk about burnout. Burnout is one of those experiences that can feel invisible, perhaps, to the outside world. You keep performing, you keep achieving, you keep pushing until one day your body and mind simply say, that's enough, and it stops. And Anna shared a little bit of her story with me when we were at Mind Valley, and it really shocked me as to how much we can experience physically when we go through burnout. But more so than that, her transformation. Anna knows this journey firsthand. After experiencing burnout herself, she discovered how much of her healing came down to food. She's also mentioned fasting and the way we run our lives on unconscious programs, which is a topic I am very, very fascinated about. So, Anna, welcome, welcome. I love that your story is not only about it's not about escaping high pressure environments because you now also help people learn how to stay in those same environments, but without letting them break them. So thank you for being here, Anna, and let's just dive right in. Can you take us to the life of Anna before this transformation, before the burnout really happened? What were you doing and what was your life like?
Mhm. Hello, Yanni, and thank you very much for having me here. I feel delighted and honored to speak to you. And we both met indeed at Mind Valley University in Amsterdam, and now we are back in our homes, you in Kenya, me in Germany. And I feel so grateful for the technique that we have nowadays that we are able to connect throughout all the kilometers and miles and get again together. So thank you for the invitation. And I'm so keen to share my journey in in order to empower others to be brave and to empower themselves to go on their journey as well. So, what's my journey? I think the best, not to make it too long, it's to start just before 2017, which is already a long time ago, but that was a very special time in my life because now I'm in my end 40s, and at that time uh, I was really flourishing my career. I was there where I always wanted to be. So I really reached the top of being an international manager, traveling the world, working with amazing people worldwide, having an amazing job as a customer experience executive and really like feeling like, yeah, this is it. This is what I really worked for it very hard for years. And now I am in. Yeah, and I was in for a while, for some years, but from time to time I start to realize that something is going wrong. Although I love this job and I love what I did, there was kind of mindset of getting higher, getting faster, getting unstoppable, and it was like a snowball going up and up and up. So, and I find myself losing control over all of this. So I felt more be run by outside circumstances rather than be able to control myself. And what I mean by control is really to control my nervous systems, to be able to sleep properly, for instance. And I think this is really one of the signs where people start to realize, oh, there's something going wrong with me. So what I'm saying, describing this, is at that time I had a to-do list next to my bed. Imagine to-do list. So
Yeah.
all the times when I was waking up in the night, I was writing down notes about what I'm going to do next day, or solutions for the problems I have had from the day before. So how sick is that? So you never ever get the opportunity to really have a healthy sleep and have, nights of peace and relaxation, because you are 24 hours working in your head. And this is what what is bringing oneself to burnout, because you are constantly in this alert mode and you are constantly thinking. And there was a time where I really felt like standing next to myself. So there was this body and there was something else. So there was a full disconnection. So the one part was running all the outside programs, and the other part was like being smaller and smaller and smaller and feeling unconscious, unseen, unwanted in some parts. So, and the other one was this extremely successful to the outside, because I really remember when people ask me, yeah, what are you doing? I was always telling those enthusiastic stories. And I mean, we all almost all love traveling. So if people hear you travel to places where people usually go on vacation, so you can really see the eyes opening, and everybody was so enthusiastic, and saying, "Oh, that's a dream job, dream job."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in some parts, but and
Yeah.
today, to close this part, I can tell you it wasn't only the job that brought me there.
Ah, um, it's really interesting as well because you say that you loved actually your job, you loved what you were doing. And yet at the same time, that part of you that was saying, go higher, go faster, we have to be unstoppable, was the mindset that you were in, which, correct me if I'm wrong though, but that's what drove you now to pushing yourself too far.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And when you say it wasn't just the job alone,
Yeah.
what else was going on then for you?
Um, I think when we look at our life, there are several areas where we live, where we perform, where we act, where we are.
Yeah.
So those areas are for me like relationships, work, the purpose, what are we doing, our spirituality as well. Then the ability to move and to exercise is in it as well. Food is a part as well. So, if you, I hope I didn't forget any, but it's not so necessary now. But I think there are several areas in our life. So you cannot say it's only the job that brought you there. So you really have to look at several areas in your life and look, where am I in this balance? Or finances is another one, other piece in this cake, so to
Yeah.
say. So there were area where I could really feel the peace fully, like finances or purposeful job or stuff like that, but being more poor in other areas. And why being poor in those areas? Because I didn't have time, or I thought I don't have time for them. Like
Yeah.
moving exercises, doing sports, going on the fresh air. So I was always like in those meetings and always in stress and always with my two phones, like that. So, but I didn't consciously take the time out for myself. And on a certain point, it is no possible more to act like that consciously, because you are just run by outside programs, so you cannot stop yourself anymore. And this is where burnout is, because you are
Yeah.
not the owner of yourself anymore. So I
Yeah.
describe it like that. Yeah, and in my private life, there was also a challenge, because my wonderful daughter got a very rare autoimmune disease. And so there were lots of doctors that we consulted, and they didn't know where it is. And so imagine this mom who is high performing at her work and being really very much in the work, and then having and prepare trying to be a amazing mom in the private time, of course, as well. And then this illness comes on top, and then you don't get support from outside, from places where you expect to get it, like doctors, because they didn't know. So I was really running, the 24 hours were not long enough because I was really searching in all languages that I speak for resources, for medical studies or something. What type of disease is that with these things that are happening to her? So
Yeah.
really, that was a long time of research, and I think that was another part of it. So kind of there's another piece of life where you where you go on exhaustion as well because you feel so hopeless. Yeah, and of course when you are so busy you are not having time for your loved ones, like your best friends, or yeah, you know, this calls, then you meet somebody and yeah, we have to call, and then 2 months later you still didn't, right? Because you don't have the time, or you don't take the time for yourself. Skipping meals is also another part. You know, like, okay, that somebody needs to speak to you during the lunchtime because he lives in a different time zone. So skip your lunch, go for the meeting. Oh, I would never ever do this again. And this, because, you know, if you do it from time to time, it's not a problem. But if that starts to be the new normal, that after a while it becomes a problem.
A problem, yeah. And I think it's a really important point to emphasize again that it's not only the work or the job that leads to the burnout. I love that you explained there's so many other pieces in the cake where if they're not topped up or fulfilled, that can also make the burnout even worse because we've seen that in different people's lives, you know. I've seen this when I was working in the law firm that I have these partners. There's one who I absolutely admire her, right? She's a partner, top-notch partner. She's also a mom. She also stays fit, healthy, and active. And I'm just like, how are you doing all of this when we're down here, we're working all the longer hours and we feel burnt out? But it makes sense because of what you're saying, is that she was probably filling up each piece of that cake, making sure she was taking care of herself. Her health was good. She loved her work. She was doing the exercise, right? She was filling up all those different pieces. And there's this beautiful exercise that one can do, and I don't know if you know the name of it, but it's basically where you draw a circle and then you draw out the different sections of your life and then you
Yeah,
say how full are each one, and then you
yeah,
draw around the rating to see, well, is this a round tire that's going
yeah,
to move really well, or is it a tire that's like, oh, work is so good but family is here and this,
yeah,
and so if you don't have a round tire, then how is your life going to move forward in a nice flowing way? Have you heard
absolutely.
of that exercise?
Yeah, Wheel of Life is that.
Yeah, there you go. Wheel of life.
And but there are many different names for that, so that's
Names for it.
used in several coaching and psychology areas as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, for you, did the burnout creep up slowly? Like, did you see signs early on, or did it just hit you all at once and then you were like, wow, something has to change?
You know, we can always learn backwards. So
Yeah.
that time I wouldn't see it. But now went through, because I went through it, I can precisely say when I realized that it was too much, but I didn't see those signs, you know.
Mhm.
But please, let's, before I explain this, please
Yeah.
let's go back to another thing, because now it may be this impression of, if we feel those pieces of cake, what we've been talking about, and they are all full, so it's all good. But that's not the point. This is kind of more the inventory, right? So inventory to look at, and then to look at and say, okay, where I am in depth, where I have to explain, do more or less. So it's more the inventory. But I think the most important thing is, how do we sit here in our head? So how are we built? So how our whole life was before that, and what made us to become to this point as we are. So that means the whole socialized life, like, or socialization, we call it here. So like, where do I grow up? What were the main ideas in my family? So who were the role models in the family? So who my mother was looking up to? who my father was looking up to, were my parents' role model to me, or maybe the opposite. So all, all those small things, school, how school affected me, in which environment I grew up. So what were the common sentences that I heard all and over again, So, and everyone has those, like for some people, like there's a money issue in the family, so they speak a lot about money issues. So the child is growing in an environment where things, oh, money is so important, it's so important, but actually it's nothing good, but it's so important, but it's not good. So this mindset kind of, and this kind of mindset we have for almost every area in our life. So we build up kind of, so today I call it like we've been programmed throughout all those process of growing up, being infected by the outside world as well, because as small children, we think this is the truth, so we just take it. And then at one point we are the grown up, and my program was I was a hyperachiever. I was somebody who was very much in control or wanted control, because control for me meant this is security. So I'm safe and secure. If I control everything, I am safe and secure. So this was my program. So this piece of cake is great when everyone make a list, make a round for himself and then look at that. But this is the inventory. And then the second step starts to look at the inventory in your mind. Like, what programs I'm running on.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for actually bringing us back to that, because it's such a huge piece of the puzzle as well. It's like the second tier of the cake. I'm curious, where did your programming come from? Now that you've kind of gone through this and you've unlayered things, where did this mindset of being a high achiever and always wanting control, where do you think that came from for you?
Yeah, of course I know. And these are those points where I always feel like, oh, this tight around my heart when I speak about this. Because of course it comes from my childhood, how I grow up, where I grow up. So now I live a very good and privileged life in Germany, but I was born in a more poor environment in Poland, in a communistic country at that time. So with this backpack of all those not feeling free, of doing certain things they are not aligned with my own values, for instance, because this is how not non-democratic countries are running. So you have to do certain things even if they are not aligning with what you feel and what you think. So those programs, and also and today I'm much more spiritual in that place. So I can also say that they must be programs from a past generations as well. They are still running in me. But now I am at least aware of that, so I can say what that might be. So there is like a whole construction of things around me. And I think what brought me to this being a hyperachiever is because when I was a small child, so my parents, so I wasn't the easiest one. So this is what my parents said. I was very, very often sick and very often, and I was a child that wanted to be everywhere all the time. So very present, very eager to know new things and like that. So it was not the most comfortable child to raise, right? So, and I was one of five. So that's
Oh, wow.
an additional point. So it's not that all focus goes on me, but and really the environment where I grow up was, and my parents are from a working class. So the environment was like, if somebody is from the working class, it will stay in the working class. So there's kind of no opportunities to develop. And I was like always having this feeling of if you are smart enough, everybody can do it. So not that your background has to decide on how you end up one day, right? But imagine to be in this communistic environment and this mindset of people around you, and also parents who didn't believe in themselves in way of, I remember my father was, I was never good in maths, or for my mom was like languages, oh, that's so difficult. So they had more this mindset of concentrating on difficulties rather than opportunities. So I think I was more this rebellious one who always did the opposite. So when they said that's not possible, it was more an invitation for me. Of course it's possible, right?
Yeah.
But imagine running those programs your entire life. So your entire life you are proving yourself, proving yourself, proving yourself. Because and that was my program. So becoming an hyperachiever came out of always proving that of course I can do it. Of course I will show you. I will show you it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a healthy program if you're not reflective enough on that, if you don't look at that from many perspectives, because there's another perspective of that. It brought me where I was. It brought me to this amazing job and to studying, to go to a foreign country, to take very brave decisions in life. So for that, it was an amazing driver. But if you do it the whole life and also this point of it is never enough. It's
Yeah.
never enough. So you keep going, and it's never enough. This is
Yeah.
where it becomes unhealthy.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And this is the beauty is that we have this program and it serves a purpose. It's there for a reason until it gets to a point where it's no longer serving that purpose or it's now outdone itself or outrun itself. And this is something we do in rapid transformational therapy as well, is that sometimes you have a really great thing, like for you, proving yourself got you out of that environment of saying, no, I'm not going to stay working class. I'm going to go somewhere else. It got you there. But now that it got you there, it's done its job. But that program doesn't know how to leave you. And so it kept going, going, going. And so we do this thing of role, function, purpose, and intention to see, okay, this proving yourself you have now. Does it still have a role, a function, a purpose, and intention in your current life today? Or can we maybe switch that up or let it go or change it? What did you do, or have you been able to reprogram that?
yeah, indeed, I did, but it was a very long process, I must say. I remember myself vividly at that day when my doctor said, now you are going on sick leave. And I
Oh,
was
so
like,
actually, take us one step before that. Why
yeah.
were you at the doctor's?
Why? Yeah, because there was a point where I really had the sleepless nights. I couldn't go to peace anymore. So weekends were not long enough to bring me down. So
Okay.
the only really like Sunday evening was the only moment where I get to peace. But then I knew tomorrow the old craziness starts again, right? So
Yeah.
so if you become restless, so if you are not in your and whatever you do, because I tried with sports and I tried to go out, but when at one point the body is so exhausted because it's permanently running on cortisol, and cortisol is a hormone that is actually, if it's too much, it's poisoning us. So running on this cortisol constantly it's on the long distance, it's destroying us from inside.
Yeah.
So those little things that you still think they might help, like, okay, then I go out for a moment, but your mind cannot get quiet anymore. That's the problem. So the mind is taking over and is running you crazy. So there was a point where when there was another project that I had to finish at work, and that was a long project with almost 50 participants. So an international huge project I was doing with my colleague, and we've been already hitting the deadline, and then we postponed the deadline and another one, but then the final day came, and one of our um, project people didn't deliver the work we were expecting to get. So the one piece was still missing. And one of my directors decided, okay, if this person can do it, you can do it. And that was for me something like, that was like too much in this moment because I was already running out of my resources for months. And I
Yeah.
was doing over hours for months. And then decision like that came, so which in in the normal environment you would just say no, it's no point. But in this moment, that was overrunning my system. So I was
Okay.
like really blocking up, and I said no, I'm not doing this. And I became so angry, I couldn't quiet myself anymore. So that was like this cultivate moment of, or the peak moment of, I am now consciously saying that's enough. So today I am very thankful for this decision. But at that time, it didn't feel like that. I was angry with the whole world, and my heart was really running very fast. So I was like, I go, this is a heart attack of, you know? So, and I,
Right. Okay, so we had a bit of break in internet, but you were saying your heart was really pounding.
yeah. So I couldn't quiet myself anymore. I couldn't come to peace anymore. And I think in this moment, and today I'm extremely thankful for this moment, because the rebellious child showed again and could protect oneself. Because at the end, the doctor says you are really 5 minutes before burnout. And the peak of burnout is when your body is not doing anything. So you cannot
Yeah.
stand out anymore, or you just fall down, because the nervous system is in such an overdrive that the body is taking the decision for yourself. If you don't do it, I do it, and then you just collapse.
Relax. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and then when I went to doctors, and he said, like, I said, like, yeah, my heart is running, I can calm myself anymore, do you have something? And I think this is also a very important insight about me. I am somebody who is very much into nature. So I didn't take any pills before. So I was always looking for like herbal things or something like that. So I didn't have like antidepressants or something like that. I didn't
Yeah.
take them, and I never asked for them as well. And luckily in German environment we don't have doctors, they give you them immediately. So but then I was like, okay, now I need to go to him and said, yeah, this is what's going on with me. So what should I do? And he said, like, yeah, first we get you on a sick leave. And I was like, what? A sick leave? So kind of, are you crazy? Do you know who I am? Kind of, do you know how important I am at work?
Yeah.
Not just give me on. So that's really, today I can really laugh on that. But at that moment, this I I it will be great to see it like from outside the world, this situation, because today I'm laughing on that. But in that moment, it's so sad that you are running so much on those programs, you even don't realize how bad you are in this moment.
Yeah.
And luckily there's another one who can tell you, now you're done, now you go. And imagine, so I was at home for a week, and still I couldn't get quiet. So
Wow.
my heart was still running out of order, and I couldn't sleep, and I was always like feeling I am next to myself. So like there are two of me, like this kind of like, the body was not aligned with the inner world, kind of.
Yeah.
So then after a week, and already like Thursday, I was like, oh no, oh my God, I need to go back to work. I need to go back to work. And then I went to the doctor again, and then I think I was in in total on 3 weeks sick leave. But then after 3 weeks, he decided, we cannot let you go like that. So we really need to find a long-term support for you, and because you will not get out of this by yourself anymore.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
went to work, but I only went to work because I already had a plan with the doctor. What are we going to do next? So the
Yeah.
next step was to go to a specialized psychosomatic clinic who is taking care of people who are in burnout. Yeah.
Wow. And what did this recovery journey look like for you? What were the most helpful aspects that helped you now come back down
Mhm.
to your natural state?
Looking back, I must say it was the most painful and darkest time of my life. really. The hole was so deep. I didn't have the belief that I will ever go out of that. It's a really dark period because I felt so, if you are this hyperachiever before and then you fall down, you are useless, you are nothing, you are not important at all, you are just go. So
Yeah.
that was so sad to see myself helplessness. That was also because I was always somebody who was doing a lot, and then at one time you are just helpless. You cannot control, and also you cannot control anymore because the body is out of control, and that was so sad. But now I can say they are tools and they are lots of things you can do in this situation. And I think what helped me most was to really be to make myself aware, how did I get to this point? So all this biography work, I would call it, like to understand where I come from, why I became as I became, where is the root cause of that. So really going back to my childhood, to my family environment, to schools, to everywhere, how I grew up. So what makes me who I am and why did I had to end up like that? So that is the part, and this is actually something when I work with people nowadays, this is also what we explore together. So we look at the biography. So all those sentences where I constantly present in our mind because our parents wanted us to do things or the environment wanted us to do things, and this is kind of repeating program in our head. So really explore those parts.
Those parts, yeah.
That is that is like a foundation work, I would say.
Yeah.
So on the psychological side, but there is another side. So that's just one. There are lots of, but I think we don't have that much time to explore everything. But I just want to
Yeah.
give a little slip of what is possible. And the other one is really like, if your body is in this exhaustion, you really need to go back to you basic human needs. And the basic human needs in my perspectives are, you need to sleep enough, you need to eat properly, and you really need to take care of yourself, and to again to align this body. Today I call it align the body with the soul, and this is this disconnection that I felt at that time. So, and because you are an wild fit coach, I would like to stay in this area and share my experience on that. So in the way out of burnout, I wasn't an amazing chief before. Actually, that was a thing that I said, oh, it has to be done, but I didn't enjoy it much. Although I come from a home where my mother cooked very well, and so my original family pay a lot of attention to food and to comings together with family. But probably again, this rebellious child was saying, if she's doing this, then I will do the opposite. So I am not a chief and not a housewife. But at that time, I really started to not only enjoy food, but I really take time to prepare my food, to buy those things. So already this process, which is really like complete slow down in life. You go to the store, which is already a huge effort if you are in burnout. So go to the store, make a list before, make a list of healthy things who are serving you, then go back, prepare them, so cut them, prepare them, cook. So really, this was kind of meditative process for me. So cutting the pieces of food or cutting the vegetables, for instance, so that was already kind of a natural meditation because you are busy, you do something with your hands, and therefore it became so important for me because I realized I could calm down throughout this process. And then I start to enjoy eating, because before that I was eating so much junk food, because if you don't have time to cook properly, you eat a lot of junk food because you don't have the time. Then you buy this and lots of sweets as well. I think this is also an illness in our offices nowadays. Everybody has a sweet somewhere. So
Yeah.
you just go through your day and have a cookie here, have a candy there, which is totally unhealthy because it helps only for the 10 minutes. And after this, you are in such a deep. So it's
Yeah. You crash
counterproductive.
again.
Yeah, absolutely. So my experience was really make a kind of experience out of preparing simple meal. So and
Yeah.
and think about and also feel it and swallow it and have it in your mouth, test it, taste it. So all those, again, to go back to your sentences, go back to your body, really go back to your body, because before that you just swallow down and you don't pay attention to that. But this is so important, and it can become a very calming, meditative moment of day if you consciously eat your meal that you
Yeah.
prepared by yourself, that is healthy, and you're even thankful for that because you know this type of food is nourishing your body. And here in Germany, we have a very interesting book. It calls that the gut is your second brain.
Yeah.
The connections between that are really amazing. What science is telling us nowadays, how brain and food and all this is working together. This is really amazing. So food is another part of the foundation pillars of a healthy life.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love how you've put all of it together, that go back to the basic human needs. So much of when our body is not at ease or when it's out of balance is because we've lost touch with some aspect of just being a human being. And I like how you put it simply, because that's what it can be. And now as well, you still have 24 hours in a day, like the time hasn't changed, but you probably feel way more well-rounded than you did before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
So as we start to kind of wrap up, you had mentioned this quote to me, which was a Tony Robbins quote: "Life is happening for me, not to me." Could you just share a little bit about that quote, why it means so much, and how have you adopted that quote in your life?
Yeah, that's when I hear this from out of you, I already have this feeling of calmness and gratitude, a lot of gratitude around this, because looking at life from a perspective and every circumstances that is happening to you or to you, for you,
Yeah.
it's a totally different perspective. So today I look at my past with a lot of gratitude, and I know that needed to be happen for me. Otherwise I would not be awakened as I am today. So and this is also why I choose what I'm doing now as a coach, because I'm certified systemic coach, which is a very bright field of coaching, and I could do every type of coaching, but I really choose this niche because throughout my experience, I realized that only if we really have those very deep experiences in our life, or that doesn't need to be because you brought yourself there. It can also be somebody that you love died, or some other circumstance happened that really destroyed your life completely, and you end up in depression or burnout. So sometimes I think those situations are actually the help for us to awake, because in those situations we really concentrate what's really important in our life, what's really important. So it's like a kind of reset for us as well. And I see those as chances to develop further and to learn out of this. So therefore now when something happens, I'm the first sentence that I have is, so I feel the emotions that is coming. So I'm annoyed, or I'm afraid, or I'm angry, or whatsoever. So I feel the emotion and I say, uh-huh, here you are. And then I think like, this is happening for me and not to me. So, and the next sentence that is coming is, so already this realization, so being very conscious in this moment. And the second is, who knows what is this good for? So, I mean, these are so powerful sentences for me nowadays to look at every situation that is approaching you throughout this perspective. That's really amazing.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Anna, thank you for sharing your story. It's a really powerful reminder that we just need to go back to being human. And if we can work on little bits and pieces like that, we can continue staying in that high power job if we want to, and just still be nourishing ourselves in the best way possible. So I'd love to close with a question that I ask every single guest. And that question is, if healing had a voice, what would it say to you right now?
Trust.
Mm. I love that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much. And maybe you could just tell us if anyone is looking for someone to support them, what you do and where they could find you.
Yeah. As mentioned, I'm working as an international post-burnout coach. So I'm helping people who already experienced burnout. So they got the first level support from doctors. And now they are on this path to create a new life based on their experiences. So a life that is really flourishing and fulfilling and sustainable. And this is very important thing because the rate of return to burnout is quite high. So
Yeah.
there is always if you already have had these experiences, one of the tasks is to learn how to dance with that throughout the life, because
Mm.
there are always episodes coming back, but while
Yeah.
you learn, you will always go faster out of this. So this is what I'm teaching the people to create through healthy habits, through mindset change as well, through lots of exercises, because really everybody is so individual. So we really look individually, who are you set together, right? So,
Yeah.
and yeah, this is what I help people with in order not to prevent them for a return to burnout.
Return, yeah. And it links to something that you mentioned earlier, which was really getting to the root cause, right? If you get to the root cause, that root belief, the
Absolutely.
root um past experience, and you start to reprogram that, that's when burnout will never come for you again because
Absolutely.
you've addressed the root. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Anna. And for everyone listening, if this conversation resonated with you, helped you, or made you feel seen, just please be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to come join our free Facebook community, Eat Better, Think Better. It's where these conversations continue and where you'll find real people walking the same path. And if you're ready to go deeper in your own journey, whether it's healing your relationship with food, shifting your mindset, or breaking free from beliefs that are holding you back, you will find more support, resources, and ways to work with me at www.eatbetterthinkbetter.com. So until next time, here's to eating better, thinking better, and living a phenomenal life. Let's go.